Hello, welcome back to Talk Seagulls, and we're back at the Caxton Arms, not in my room like last time. It's a better setup this time, and we're joined by the landlord, the owner of the pub, Brighton fan as well, Brett Mendoza, my friend. How are you?
Oh, good. Good to see you here.
Yeah, it's nice to have you on, actually, because I've filmed in here so many times and not actually had you on the episode.
Yeah, it's about time, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And it's probably the best setup as well in the pub. Like, if you're in the Caxton, as you come in the door, this is literally like the best bit, particularly that Matoma mural behind you. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, Brett, to be honest. We've got from transfer news to sort of how we've been in recent times, the last game against Everton, Forest this weekend. How are you sort of overall about Brighton at the moment?
That's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
In theory, it's actually been a good season, but because we've had so many games where we've disappointed, it doesn't actually feel like it, because we're still in the top 10, but half the games we're just thinking we're rubbish, and then the other half we're like coasting games against the big teams, and everything's amazing. Yeah,
I mean, this is the thing for me. It's like the style of players. I've said it so many times in the episode. I don't want to get like really negative or anything, but the last game obviously was so frustrating to watch. It is sort of typical us against the lower team, as we've been for so long now. We play a side in the bottom three, struggle, don't score. I think the last 3 o'clock kickoff at the Amex was Everton. Sorry, Ipswich, or was it Wolves? Maybe. Either way, it was not great. No. And if I'm thinking of the Ipswich game, it definitely was in my head anyway before the game, thinking it's going to be a typical one of them. Yeah. And for me, coming against Everton, it's like, you know, like how we said against Norwich, we want to assert like our dominance on the game, prove that we're the better team, but we just don't, do we?
No, it always starts well for like 10 minutes, and then if we don't score in that, then we just, especially in the second half, we just get progressively worse and worse and worse. And I think we've had like 7 attackers on the pitch by the end and didn't even create a shot. No. And one of the attackers was Adam Webster. Like, how's that happened?
Well, that's it. I mean, it's just baffling sometimes. And for me, as I said to you before, it's the style of play, right? And I think even in that Everton game, realistically, we didn't have a great deal of clear-cut chance. You say there wasn't like, you know, sometimes we go look back on games and say, oh yeah, we had this many chances, how we didn't score is beyond us. I wouldn't really say we got that.
I don't think Pickford made a save. I don't think Verbruggen made a save apart from picking the ball out for the penalty. So it should have been 0-0.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, and it's one of them. I don't know. I feel like I'm being really negative every time I do these things, but I just want more, you know? And against like a Forest side where they're so rampant and they can definitely punish us. I know that that Bournemouth game was a really bad one, but I feel like that just happens to sides that are at that level, you know, all season. It happened to us, didn't it? Right?
De Zerbi was the classic with Everton at home, Luton away. We were like 3-0 down after 4 minutes, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does happen, but there you go.
Yeah, I mean, Forest, I don't want to just preview Forest completely. I want to just get a gauge of how you feel, because for me it's like when they're a side that are better than us, say, we tend to turn up, right? As we have done against Man United and City, etc. this season, which is fine, but I still feel like I don't have that confidence going into, say, Forest this weekend where I maybe would have done before, where I'm like, I know what style of play we're going to play, I know what sort of game plan we got. You know, that's probably one thing that's definitely lacking at the moment. Yes, you could say injuries, but I feel like we're probably not in that scenario at the moment where we've got that confidence going into most games.
I totally agree. Like, I think with Forest, they're doing unbelievably up there, but because they're not like one of the traditional big 6 names, will the players get up for it? Like when they play Man United, Man City, I don't know. But Forest, they're so good at what they do. Nuno's got them playing exactly how he wants. They play to all their player strengths, which we don't seem to do at the moment. So that's why they're up there. Have we got a chance of winning? I have more confidence playing away than at home. So
yeah, same.
There you go. I think I'd take a draw straight away. 1-1 is a classic, but you know, Chris Wood's playing again to score, isn't he?
Of course he is. And it's their style of play though. Like this is what I mean. They've got, as you say, their players all suit it, and they've got rapid attackers. They've got a very good defence, and that's our probably biggest nightmare, is playing against a side that is so counter-attacking, can low block us, but also completely tear us apart in the counter. And that's probably my reservation, say. I'm not quite sure as to how we cope with that. I really do hope I'm wrong, by the way. But there's been a lot of talk in there on social media about, you know, there's people that really, really are passionately hurt till they're in. There's people that are passionately hurt till they're out. There's people that are sort of in that in-between of not really sure, very young, very naive team. I think I'm in a bit of a balance of, it's a very naive side, but at the same time, as you say, we're probably not getting the best out of those, particularly Jorginho, Mitoma, and then you've also got the midfield of Oyari, O'Reilly, Mats Wiefer, Baleba. These are fantastic midfielders, right? We don't really tend to see them.
Yeah, well, I think, as you said, injuries has played parts of that, where, to me, we need two physically big, strong midfielders. Baleba's definitely one of them. I think Wiefer's probably the one that should, if everyone's fit, be the midfield partner, but I don't know. Like, Ayari's a bit lightweight for me. He either, because he's young, he's either amazing or he's, should we just say not very good. And then, who's else? We've got O'Reilly. He seems to be more attacking.
Yeah.
And then we've got Jack Hinchelwood. I think he's back. That's his preferred.
Hinch is back now.
So that could be another option, which we've not really had before yet this season. So there you go.
Yeah. It's difficult because I get what you mean with the Yari. He's very lightweight, but then when he's technically good. Yeah. He's technically very good. His passing range is good. His dribbling ability is pretty good as well. But he's probably that little bit lightweight. Same with like Brian Gruder, for example. Yeah. Just maybe a little bit premature to be starting as many games as he is at the moment.
Yeah.
Whilst I'd say at the same time he has had his breakout more this season and probably surprised a lot of people. He's definitely surprised me. I didn't think he'd be playing anywhere near as many games as he is. But when it comes to say Wiefer, or O'Reilly, O'Reilly's the one that really gets me because of how good he was for Celtic last year and sort of how much they touted him as being, not to say the next Pascal Gross, because you can't say that, but he was a bit of a, he added a lot of goals to their team. He was that late arrival. We saw it that one time against Manchester City, that late run into the box and he made the goal. Yeah. Unbelievable moment, unbelievable goal. But again, we don't maybe see those little bits quite so much enough from these players. O'Reilly's definitely one of those, and I want to see a lot more from him because I do believe he's a good player.
Yeah, likewise.
I just don't see it at all.
Yeah, I think since the injury, he's played it a bit safe, so he'll just lay off an easy ball and not go straight like for the Hollywood passes or the defence splitting balls where maybe his confidence has gone a little bit. But then if you're in and out the team as well, you don't get that chance to stamp your authority on the game. Like, there was the Liverpool kid that came on last night, 4 minutes into his debut, got sent off. Yeah. So you don't want things like that happening. I think he's just playing safer now, and hopefully we'll see the best of him soon.
Yeah, that confidence definitely got knocked in that Crawley game. Yeah. And I can appreciate why. It's a very nasty tackle, and it's kept out for such a long time. But I don't know. I just feel like we're not getting that. Maybe it's the style of play. Maybe it's individual quality as well. Yeah. We do often rely a lot on individual quality, as we did with, say, Jorginho during that sort of 3-game run when we had Norwich, etc. That was really good to see. We were getting the best out of these players. We're going for them overloads. But the thing is, as Toby pointed out in the last episode, and quite rightly, teams are quite smart, right? Yeah. They're not going to then think, okay, we're going to just go all in and wait for Brighton to lob it over top of us because they've got Minte that can get around you. They're not going to do that because they're smart enough to realise that's not going to work. And it completely was counterproductive against Everton, right? And that completely becomes ineffective. And realistically, we didn't look like scoring against them. So when you play against a side like Forest or anyone sort of similar to them, I think Arsenal are probably in the similar boat. Really, really sound defensively. Yeah. I struggle to see where we're going to create the goals from, and that's probably a mixture of probably a bit of confidence, but also that tactical, that bit of know-how maybe. I feel like that freedom perhaps in some players is not quite there. We show a lot of teams a lot of respect, and we wait for them to come at us. We don't
totally agree with that.
that what's the word? We were always told about high press, right? When Hertzler was coming in, it was meant to be high press. I don't see it that much.
No, it happens against the big teams, doesn't it? Like everyone seems to be up for it, and then when we do play these teams that aren't really there to win a game of football, everything just goes out the window. We don't seem to have that intensity to try and do anything. We have learned. The only thing I think that we have learned this season is, because it happened so many times, when we've taken the lead, we've sort of managed to see a game out and like have some game management going forward to try and win the game, whereas now when we can't score, we don't seem to have a plan B of how we try to score, and we can't seem to get the lead. So especially against these teams, as you say, with low blocks down the bottom relegation battles. We just can't do it.
No, I agree. Do you think there's much of it in the transfer point of view? Because obviously, you said Adam Webster. He come on up front, right? And now we're looking at loaning out Evan Ferguson. And I get he's been injured. I get he's had a really bad time. I said it in the last video that I put on. If you haven't watched that, please go watch it for the Ferguson chat. But I pretty much covered the fact that Ferguson, we can't let him go. We're in no position to let him go, right? We've got two strikers, and with the greatest respect to both of them, I like João Pedro, I like Danny Welbeck, obviously, but they're injury prone, right? So if you're going to let them go, to me, it's like you're either going to bring somebody in, it's not going to be that Zimaz because he's not coming now. So unless there's another 20-year-old wonder kid that's going to be here before Monday morning, I'd be very surprised. Yeah,
it's like I said, like we're putting Webster up front. We were putting all these floaty balls in against these huge Everton defenders, and we didn't have anyone to win it. So I guess that's why we've done it. But then if you let Ferguson go, he's the presence that we need up front, which seems to make João Pedro drop down to number 10, and Minter, Rutter, Matoma, whoever, they all seem to link up and click much better than when Pedro or Rutter's up front as a number 9, which doesn't really work. So now, if we get rid of Ferguson, which makes 0 sense, the sort of player we're going to look for is a big physical presence, someone that can score goals, someone who's ideally good in the Premier League. And that person that we're looking for, I think, is Evan Ferguson. But as you said, he hasn't had a run of games. He needs a run of games to play well. Will he get that with us? I don't know. So the loan, in that sense, kind of makes sense. But to get rid of him permanently, especially in a window where there aren't really any strikers available.
And we look at Victor Gyökeres in the way we do now. And rightly, I mean, fair play to Gyökeres. He's unbelievable footballer these days. And he's deserved it. But on a Ferguson point of view, we don't want that to happen again. You're right in saying, I get the player point of view. And we said this, I think, last time. The player point of view is fine. I get that he needs to play regularly as a striker. He needs to be scoring as many goals as he physically can, right? Get as many games as you can. I get it. For us, though, you're in a bit of a... You're not sure which way to go because you've got the side of, fine. If Welbeck stays fit for the rest of the season, if João Pedro stays fit for the rest of the season, fantastic. But they've already had big injuries, big chunks of the season this season that they've already missed. And when you look at like someone like Jorginho, for example, I think he's a great 9.5, but I wouldn't trust him solely as a 9. I don't think he's a goal scorer, an out-and-out goal scorer by any means. And that's probably where we're at as a club. I think when you're looking at out-and-out goal scorers, it's got to be Ferguson. And this is, again, it's sort of coming down to my point of individuals and getting the best out of individuals. Realistically, we're not probably playing, you're lumping the ball into the box against the big Everton side. You're not playing to the strength of the players we've got in front of us. So a lot of it does come down to a mixture of things. Yes, you can say fair play to Everton in that sense of defending so well, because they did.
Yeah, they did, really well.
But at the same time, everyone knew, you probably knew, I knew, after that penalty went in, we're not going to win. It's this game over, right? And I think that's probably, for me, where it's at with individuals. I want to just see them get the better out of each of these players. Because I can't emphasise it enough, although people, particularly Jack, and I spoke to him, I'll get him back on another time, disagree with me and saying that this is the best squad we've ever had, right? But I still think it is. Do you think?
Apart from central midfield, maybe. Because like when we had McAllister and Caicedo, that was world class, and we got the money to show for that. And then, like now, I believe now is a better player than Caicedo was at that stage in his career, and Basuma. So it's just he needs a partner, and then they can work on a partnership, and then hopefully we can build something where, at the moment, our attack just seems to be look it out wide to Matoma and hope he does something. And hopefully we got someone in the box. But there doesn't seem to be much of a game plan after that. So
no, that's it. You'd probably with the midfielders side. I mean, this is. I don't know. You can tell me if I'm wrong here. But when you've got O'Reilly, when you've got Weaver, etc., you want to see the ball being played through the middle. Because you want to see us emphasising that, from the defensive phase into the attacking phase build-up. You sort of got 3 phases of play. You got that build-up play, which we were so good at before. But we don't really do that to get ourselves into the final third. It's more of a, these runs that go in front of the players, probably more so with the wingers and the sort of central players, I'd call Jorginho and João Pedro, waiting for these gaps to form, so basically just launch a ball over the top. And okay, great, it works when it works. Yeah. But if it's not working, you want to see that build-up play through the middle, or at least to be able to carve out a chance, or be able to play the ball through a bit of a cutting-edge pass.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that Matt Weaver says should be really, really good at. O'Reilly should be really, really good at. Baleba, as we know, he can power through a midfield whenever he feels like it. Yeah. These are players who have all got that ability to be able to become potentially even better than Caicedo and McAllister. But we don't emphasise that, I don't think.
No, I totally agree. And if you look at last season, how many penalties did we get? That's because we got the ball in the box and we had attackers in the box to get fouled. And now we have one penalty, I think. We barely get the ball in the box.
Yeah. Wasn't there a dubious one as well we got? I can't even remember. The one penalty we've scored. It was a João Pedro one, wasn't it, against Arsenal, and it was a bit dubious.
So, we just don't seem to have a structure. Yeah, I guess under De Zerbi, it was drill. We're doing this, we do this until you get it right. And under Hertzer, he kind of just says, we go on good vibes and stuff, doesn't he?
Vibes.
So it's not I don't know yet. He doesn't seem to have as much authority as De Zerbi, but again, that might be just because he's young. But it is a transitional season.
For sure.
A manager that's a baby pretty much, isn't he, as we said, and I won't mention his age because everyone does that. And
I don't know how old he is. I think he's 31. I could be wrong. I completely agree with you, to be honest. And it's probably that scenario for us. Again, against the Forest side, you want to see us there go and dominate the play. Yeah. Right, this is what Brighton do. We go places and we dominate. This is. I remember saying it so many times, going on so many different shows and things, speaking to people like yourself. We would go and dominate the game, regardless of whether we're going to win. Yeah. Sometimes it wouldn't work, but we would go and try and play as best we can at every single game.
Liverpool away was amazing for that. We were so good for 85 minutes of that game, and obviously they've got world class Salah that just
turned out Igor. Corner, that was it.
But we can do it. That's the thing, and it's just we need maybe where we don't tinker with the team so much, but he hasn't really had that chance with injuries, and I don't know what this medical team that we brought in to, just someone seems to get injured in training every week. But if we get all the players fit and a consistent starting 11, I reckon we can play like we did at Liverpool and Man City, and we had every right to get a point at Liverpool, even a win, and we beat some good teams like Tottenham, they're like the hot or cold, and like Man City, they were at the start of their bad run, and who else have we beaten? Like Man United home and away, they're brilliant results, but then it's all balanced off with not beating Southampton, Ipswich, Everton, Wolves at home, and that's terrible. You need to not only get the balance, but you need to turn up in every game. You want to go into every game knowing how you're going to play and be confident in the way you play. Back onto the transfer front, because I know you spoke about Ferguson. We're getting really close to the transfer deadline now. The one thing that was probably the biggest thing needed addressing going into the window was getting a centre back. It looks like that's going to happen in there and cash in. At least if you believe Derby rumours saying that he's having a medical this morning at the time of recording this anyway. So I might even put this out and he might even be a Brighton player by then. Your thoughts on him? Have you seen too much about him? I don't know too much about him, but I said we're quite good at getting young defenders with loads of potential. With our injury record at the back, Dunk, Webster been injured a while, and Dunk's maybe gone past his peak. We need to plan for the future, and cash-in we've tried before, and I'm surprised he wants to come to us after what happened in the last window, where apparently he was left in a Starbucks in a service station for 7 hours waiting for our call to come down and
oh really?
Come down.
I didn't even know that story.
Come down and sign for us, but he never got the call, so he ended up back at Derby. So if he comes, he's obviously decent because we've tried to sign him in the last couple of windows. So I have trust in the. Trust in the process in that
trust
way.
The process. No, I get what you mean. He's a 23-year-old centre back, at least from the very little scout report I did myself. Very Brighton-like in terms of his passing range. Probably not so much like a Colwill or a Ben White, in that he probably doesn't drive it forward so much. He's not the fastest. But apparently what Derby fans tell me anyway, his reading of the game makes up for his sort of lack of height and physical presence as such. He's also, in terms of physical presence, he'll crunch anything. Apparently he'll head at anything, which for a 6-foot player you'd know is quite surprising.
To me, a defender, that is their job, to defend first, and then It doesn't matter how good you can pass the ball. If you can't defend, then don't be playing in defence.
No, that's very fair. But also, he's got that sort of passing ability. He likes crossing crossing the ball in, but he also likes them diagonals, which we've become so accustomed to with Van Hekke now, and Dunk, obviously. But Van Hekke, one thing I'd always say is Van Hekke, actually my dad would always say, Van Hekke to Matoma, Van Hekke to Matoma, Van Hekke to Matoma. You see it all the time, right? And maybe that's an opportunity for cash-in. If it's true that even Hertzler wants to finally play as 3 at the back, I think he played a 3-4-3 or something like that at St. Pauli. Maybe you see a cash-in come straight into the 11 in that sense. I mean, he is a Nottinghamshire boy, so it'd be an ideal place for him to be. But at the same time, having, say, Dunk, Van Hekke and Cash-in, there's not that much pace between the 3 of them. That's the only concern for me already. But maybe those sort of spray passes from either side. You've also got Dunk that's quite good centrally. Should be pretty good, I think. I think, as you said, if like Hertzler played this 3 at the back system for St. Pauli, and has he done it really with us? No. I don't think so. No. So maybe if he does get the players to play his system, we might finally see more process.
A better process to trust, and more results going in our favour, and hopefully better performances where we can turn up to games confident we're going to play well and get a result. But I said it is very transitional at the moment. So cash-in, I think he should. We've chased him for ages, so he's got to be good. And he seems to have played a lot of games already in the Championship. Was it League One? No. No. Well, he's played.
He played League One. And he's in the Championship.
So he's played professional games where some of our youngsters we're just bringing them in and they haven't played anything yet. So he's got a bit of experience and a bit of maybe he'll have a bit of nous with the physical battles we had in the lower league. So hopefully, with a bit more time on the ball in the Premier League, he might do well. But obviously, if you make a mistake, you're going to get punished far more.
That's the biggest thing, and that's the one thing that I'll shout out Joe, my Derby friend. He said, they're not quite sure if he's ready to make the step up yet. Although they can see potential in him, as I say, he's very young. He's already worn the captain's armband for Derby, which is quite mad at 23. I think he was their player of the year at 21 in the League One. But I say Joe was quite confident in that he was a very good player, but not so confident in the sense of him coming straight into the Prem. He said he's probably not a top end Premier League player yet, but with us, I mean, we like to take them gambles, don't we? We're just playing players maybe when they're not quite ready. I remember a similar conversation regarding Darwin Nunez not so long ago. And so, we'll see, is what I would probably say. Say cash-in comes in the door then and Derby finally cash in. Sorry. But at that point, what else do we need? I mean, there's talk of Lamptey going. I mean, he's out of contract in the summer. Would you give him a new contract or not?
I don't know. He's another one where just when you think, we should get rid of him, he starts playing well.
He's had a good season, actually, to be fair, Tarek.
And then he's been scoring wonder goals, but then defensively, again, he's not really at it, or he's just he's not physical enough, is he? So he loses challenges and they've led to goals. But then you sort of fall in love with him again. You remember back to lockdown Lamptey, who's probably the best player we've ever had. So I don't know. It's a tricky one. I'd probably, if we can get money for him this window, then sadly yes. Because if he goes for nothing, but then we didn't spend anything on him, did we? And
no,
it's
we really didn't.
So it's not much of a loss financially. So I don't know. The nostalgia part of me says keep him, but if we can get another right back or left back in, then maybe it is time to go.
Well, there's talk of Walker Peters, wasn't there? Because he's out of contract as well with Southampton. So there's a couple of potentials there. But I think with Lamptey, it's difficult because we're in a situation where we lack experience. And whilst Tarek's still very young, he's been at the club for a long time now. And I feel like having club people is really important just as much as not. I still think he's got a lot of potential as a player. I think, as you say, his physicality is the thing that lets him down defensively. Going forward, I wanted to see more from him scoring goals or getting more assists. And he started to add that to his game. So I'm thinking at the moment, and he's also very good covering left back, which is no mean feat. If you can cover both sides, especially with Purvis' injury record, for me it's difficult. And obviously Kadiogli's out for so long. I'd be surprised.
We
signed Ferdy Kadioglu, by the way. And if we sign somebody else, realistically, I can't see it being this window now if you're a fullback. So if you're going to risk going into the summer without Lamptey, you know, that basically puts the pressure on to sign someone. You've got to spend another 20, 30 million on another fullback. Okay, fine, if you can bring someone in, then so be it. But I would probably give him a contract at the moment, based on his recent performances. But that's just me. But I just, as you say, I just love him because
no, same
he's
with me. I
become
love
one of
him,
them
but then
lovable
it's
characters.
just trying to think logically and about the future, and I don't know if he is what we need, but I do love him, and I'd love him watching him play. So it's a very tough one, that one.
No, for sure. Okay, so sort of final things then. Ferguson stays. Tarek, we're on a bit of 50-50 on. Adam Webster doesn't play up front. And we bring in Ian Cashin. Other than that, do you see anything else really happening before Monday's deadline or not really?
You always like to think so, but the amount of money we spent...
Don't go to sleep yet, Albion fans, with the pizza photo again.
And then it'll be, we've signed someone for the under-21s.
Loaned Alexis McAllister out, or whatever it was at the time.
So I don't know. You want some excitement back in like your Albion mojo, I guess, to sign someone. There's rumours going around all the time, but if we get anyone, we don't tend to do much in January. No. So I want it. I want something to happen, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, definitely a striker, especially if Ferguson goes. Like going into the rest of the season with Welbeck as our only option isn't going to help anyone, is it? No.
Yeah. To be fair, I saw this thing about our January window, right? And realistically, when you think about some of the best signings we've had, we've actually signed them in January.
Knockout,
Joa comes straight to mind. We signed Caicedo in January. I'm pretty sure we recalled and pretty much bid ourselves out of getting Alexis back. There's been a lot of big signings that happened in January, so it's almost like we use this window as one that's, you know, if we do go and sign someone, we like to think they're really, really worth getting, which is what gives me a bit of confidence in Cashin. Because, you know, although Derby fans are telling me maybe not, you know, remember when we signed Veltman, who's probably been the best 10 out of 10 signer we signed recently. I remember all the Ajax fans saying he was useless. Don't sign him. Why are you buying him? So, you know, I'm not going to write him off by any means. I want to see him play. Definitely. But I think it's definitely an opportunity for us to get somebody. I don't want us to go crazy, but I just want us to maybe get either a fullback, and if we are gonna get rid of Ferguson, I can't emphasize enough, we have to bring somebody else in.
Otherwise that's pretty much any faint hopes of Europe out the window if we don't. So we're like, what's the top scorer? Is that Welbeck? He's got 6.
Welbeck. I think João Pedro might have overtaken him now, but we haven't got a great deal of goal scorers.
We've got loads of. I think we've got the most different scoring players in the league, but
that's fine.
That's a good thing. But
if you can balance the goals across, and that's maybe what you lose when you lose someone like Pascal Gross. You know, when you lose someone that can contribute to 30 goals, 40 goals a season, because realistically Pascal would end the season with nearly like 13, 14 assists, and he would contribute to about 6-7 goals himself. You know, if you can get someone like that, and balance that across Jorginho, across João Pedro, it takes the pressure off. But when they're constantly sort of getting injured between them, and you know you can't play everyone every minute, as that man right behind you there plays so many minutes for us. You know, yes, okay, they're all very they can contribute towards goals, but you need to balance the side as well without running ourselves into the ground, particularly when you're going for Europe or other club competitions. Okay, I think that's most things covered, Brett. I'll sort of just get your final thoughts on sort of Forest and just in general at the moment. What's your hopes by the end of the season? Like, what do you consider now a success? Because I think before we all wanted Europe. Do you think that's still on the cards, or do you think that's quite out of the question now?
It's not out of the question. We're not as far off the top 6 as we probably should be with some of the results we've had. So
there's a lot of good teams there. Now.
Which is the other thing. Like when we got into Europe last time, it was because Tottenham and Chelsea, Man United were they were terrible, weren't they? But now that's happening again. But Chelsea have got good. But now you've got your Bournemouth, Fulhams, Forests all up there as well, competing for the same place that we are. So it's probably tougher, but I think it's better for the league that us and those other 3 teams are doing well, because it hates the traditionalists. Or they really hate it. So you're not even supposed to be in the Premier League, you tin pot teams and blah blah blah. But we've all spent our money wisely, bought decent players, and we're reaping the rewards for that. But I think top 10 is a must. Because that was the mantra for the whole time, that we're going to be a consistent top 10 team. If we get past Chelsea in the Cup, why can't we get to the final and win that? That's so a success for me. Don't care where we finish in the league, but win the FA Cup.
Yeah. You'd rather win the cup than
we're not going to get relegated, are we? So, and then that's a way into Europe as well.
Yeah, true. I suppose when you've got teams like Bournemouth now who are so good, and Forest who are so good, you know, Newcastle, Villa. Yeah, there's a lot of teams now, right? And I guess I get that. They're probably their focus won't be on winning anything. I think City are still in the FA Cup, aren't they? Did they get knocked out? I can't even remember now. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But imagine they are. You know, you still got those sort of sides that do want to win trophies and have to win trophies for their own sanity. Yeah. You know, you saw Pep last night. He's lost it. He's lucky that they're through. Okay, no, I think I do agree with you. We'll see. And Brett as well with your charity work. Do you want to tell us what's happening?
So I'm organising a charity football match to raise money for the Rocking Horse Appeal, because the charity look after sick children in Brighton hospitals, and because my twins were premature and ill since birth, they've been in care for like 14 months on and off. So I just wanted to say a thank you to them. So weirdly, I'm friends with Guy Butters and the comedian Joe Wilkinson. So on the 22nd of March at Worthing FC's ground, Woodside Road, there's a Brighton and Hove Albion Legends team against the Rocking Horse All-Star team. In the Brighton team, they've got loads of names from the past, like Mark Omerod's in goal. They've got Baz Savage and Gary Hart up front. Dan Harding, Dean Cox, Guy Butters. I can't think of the others. There's a few. There's loads. They've got a big squad of like 17, 18 players. And then Joe, he's obviously asked his comedian friends to come along and play. So we've got Joe Wilkinson, we've got John Richardson, Maisie Aslan playing, Tom Davis, the big guy, Uncle or King Gary, Lloyd Griffith even. A couple of guys from the Traitors. I've never watched the Traitors. I don't know who they are, but apparently there's a guy called Harry that won it last year. Joe Marler, the rugby player, he's playing in it. So yeah, it's like 12 quid to come in, and all the money raised goes to the Rocking Horse. And yeah, it's going to be a great day out. So hopefully you can all come and watch.
Yeah, please do that. I'll leave a link in the description and everything like that as well. Brett, absolute pleasure.
All right, cheers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And make sure you come to the Caxton Arms and just support Brett and support everything in Brighton. And in absolutely classic fashion, as we've stopped recording and everything's been packed away, all the tripod, everything's gone, there's breaking news in the Brighton space, and that is that Brighton are after Stefanos Zimas. As we sort of knew, we were after him, but we knew that he wasn't coming in this window. However, it seems like we're certainly after him for summer, and that we are now in the pole position for that to happen. Bit of a strange one, because at the same time, whilst we've been talking about Evan Ferguson, it seems like Ferguson's now wanted by Graham Potter's West Ham. Now, this is the question I'm going to put out there. Would you take losing Ferguson for good, as on a loan option to buy? I think it was 40 million or whatever was being talked about. Although, as we know, the transfer fee is never normally accurate with how we are. But would you take losing him in return of getting Zimas? And let's be honest, I've not seen Zimas play much. He's only a 19-year-old striker. I think it was around 20 million talked about. And it's through Florian Plettenberg, who's a very, very good source of late for Brighton. He's put it down to some talks with the manager. But we don't know. But what we do know is that it's definitely not going to be this window. So we could at least have the rest of this season, while we're going for Europe, without another striker. Are we happy with it? I want to hear. And I will get the word from Brett very, very soon. Right, Brett. As soon as we stop recording, we have, some transfer news on Zimas and Evan Ferguson. I just want to get a quick thought from you. What do you think of that?
Zimas is another wonder kid, but we're getting rid of our own wonder kid, so it makes no sense. Like Zimas, he's done well in Greece, is it? No, he's Greece, but he's playing in Germany, but he's only 6 foot, so he's not a big physical presence that we need, I think, as our number 9.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because we're almost letting go of one wonder kid to get another one in. Okay, if you had to lose Ferguson now, right, and know that he's going to West Ham, option to buy, he's going to be there, he's gone, to get Zimas or an equivalent striker in the summer, so basically got like 6 months of that striker, would you take it?
Well, I don't think we're going to get relegated, so why the hell not? We've got Pedro or Russell, they might actually step up.
Yeah.
Play as the number 9, you never know, but we'll just keep having loads of little technical players. Yeah. It's not going to work.
No, I agree. I just think we should do it. But we'll see. I don't know much about Zemas, but we'll see. Brett, thank you very much.
All right,
Can't even give you a head check. Cheers.